in the squadron. They called him Bullets, but we call him Greg Kelly. Greg Kelly is on the air on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Oh, boy. The CEO of Boeing is back up on Capitol Hill. And, man, they're ripping that guy to shreds again. Think about how complex that is to run a company that makes airplanes. An airplane is an extremely complex piece of machinery, and Boeing's been doing it for like 80 plus years. Yet things do go wrong, and it's kind of fascinating. We're going to make this, we're going to pay all these people all kinds of money, we're going to get these parts from all over the world, we're going to install it, we're going to assemble it, we're going to make it into an airplane. It's going to cost us $30 million to build this plane, and we're going to charge somebody $31 million for it, or whatever it is. There are a lot of goods and services out there that are a lot simpler. A hot dog, you make a hot dog, you charge for the goods and services, and you make a little bit of money. To go to that trouble to make an airplane, and then the airplanes don't work, well, in a way, Boeing is getting a bit of a bum rap. So the 737 MAX, they gave it a pretty sophisticated software system, and I guess the training for non-American pilots, was lagging. They just look. Delta Airlines is a lot better than Air Ethiopia. All right, it just is. Higher standards. The training is better. It's superior. And they've been having problems with countries that are not America and their pilots not handling the software correctly, appropriately. So what do? Politicians being politicians, and it's kind of an easy thing to do. You call the CEO to Capitol Hill and you yell and scream at him. Now, sometimes that's very, very appropriate. Mark Zuckerberg playing God with our politics and our children, that kind of stuff. But I don't know. These politicians, most of them have never really worked. They don't know anything about the private sector. They know nothing about manufacturing. They know nothing. They literally know nothing. They know how to smile for the camera and ask for money, shake hands, make promises that they don't fulfill, and, just playing that game until they want to quit and become a lobbyist. Or if they're Joe Biden, they never have to quit. They just have to find a special way to get their friends and family involved, right? You can trust people like your brother. You can trust your son, kinda. I think he fully trusted him, but did not realize just how incompetent he would be in blowing the whole thing to smithereens. Then again, Hunter, I do believe, wanted to be caught. He left that laptop on purpose. Why? So he could get some attention. And it's in Joe Biden's own autobiography. He asked Hunter Biden what he wanted to be when he grew up, and Hunter said, I want to be important. And Joe said, I totally understand. James Flippin just walked in the room. Hey, James, so they caught the guy who allegedly raped the 12-year-old girl in the park. And that's great news. How did they get him?
Yeah, so this was a pretty crazy story. A gentleman by the name of Jeffrey Flores recognized the guy. He said, you know what? I see the pictures online. I know that guy from somewhere. Turns out that they shop at the same bodega pretty much every day. So today or yesterday when this happened, he saw the guy. And he basically dragged him out of the store. He's telling everybody in the store, he says, this is the rapist. Other people came over. They all kind of held him down. Some people used belts to restrain him. And that's when they got cops to show up and actually take the guy into custody. But this guy, Jeffrey Flores, who's actually been speaking to a news organization, said, basically, I told the guy, you're done. They got you. And the guy started screaming, help, help, help in Spanish. And the guy said to him, yeah, well, I think that's what the girl said. So.
Wow. All right. What's the guy's name?
Jeffrey Flores.
Now, I just found a little tape. I think this is Jeffrey Flores. He's got that haircut like, what's his name? Flava Flav, right? With the big tower on top. No, not Flava. Right. Maybe it's Cool Modi. Anyway, he's got a very eccentric haircut. It works for him, and he's a hero. Now we're going to listen to his play-by-play for Channel 4. This is a couple of hours after the cops showed up to get this guy. All right, let's listen.
Take him out And I told everybody, yo, this is the rapist, you know. I punched him, I kicked him a little bit, I ain't gonna lie. And yeah, that's it.
What'd you say to him?
Nah, I ain't saying nothing to him. I'm always quiet when I see new people that I really don't know, you feel me? Like, I recognize people from around him, man, hold up, his son. But I already knew it was him since he was coming down this block. I already knew it was him.
Did he say anything to you?
Nope.
Nothing at all?
He didn't see it coming.
He didn't deny it? He didn't
deny. He was like, oh, he started yelling, help, help, help in Spanish. I'm like, yeah, that's what the little girls were saying.
Ooh.
And he didn't deny it. I said, they already got your ass. He's like, yeah, I know. And he just surrendered. He gave up.
Wow. Yeah. So describe that takedown. I mean,
it's not even that I'm big. It's just, you feel me? I got 2 little sisters, and I'm about to have a daughter. So it's like, for me, it did not sit right. Either way, if I didn't have 2 little sisters, I was about to have a daughter. It's still not right. It's still not right.
Well done. What's that guy's name again?
Jeffrey Flores.
Well, good for him. And I think he said, you know, I'm about to have a daughter, and I got 2 little sisters. So the guy they caught, what's his name?
There are reports of it being out there. I don't have it in front of me, but he's a illegal immigrant from Ecuador, and he was living in a local taxpayer-funded shelter.
And let me guess, he had that great big bull tattoo on his chest with red eyes, a bull with red eyes.
And because they ripped the shirt off when they were taking this guy down during the perp walk, you saw that tat on his chest.
Wow. All right, now we have another one in a woman, a mother of 5, was raped in Maryland.
Is that the one you were talking about yesterday?
Yep. And they got the guy, also a illegal alien here from another country, got into the country illegally. And the FBI, they're ignoring these things. They're ignoring it because it's embarrassing for the regime. It's embarrassing for Joe Biden. It's as petty and stupid as that. These institutions, these vaunted institutions.
Is it really that bad? Are they really that
bad.
Politicized?
What? Let me ask you this. Why the hell else would they come out and lie about the crime numbers being low? And why would they do it for the quarter when they've never done that before? They don't release these things quarterly. They do it yearly. They did it quarterly in the 1960s. Now it's back quarterly. Ooh, quarterly. You can play games with the numbers. And number one, we have a new category of crime. Migrant crime. Illegal migrant crime. By definition, this stuff would not have been happening had it been for the Biden administration, not for the Biden administration, right? I mean, they opened the borders. They did. So, yes, it is that simple. You think there's something more to it? No. They just want to help Joe Biden. Isn't that amazing? You think they have some sort of, larger loyalty. Bureaucrats are very strange. They're very strange. I don't like them. I met 1 or 2. I don't like them. Is there anything else going on I need to know?
So speaking of President Biden, I guess you know about that partial amnesty deal that he announced today, where if you're the spouse of a citizen, you can get amnesty.
I did hear that, but I thought if you do marry, that's why you have those, fake marriages sometimes.
That's what I was a little confused by, the whole green card thing.
They marry for citizenship. It's another way to become a citizen. And sometimes those marriages are real, sometimes they're fake. So that's one of the reasons why I'd like to know a bit more information if you could find out.
Yeah, I could get the more particulars of it. I just wanted to mention that both Governor Murphy and Senator Chuck Schumer have come out praising that move from Biden.
Well, there's a clue that it sucks. Right there. Anything those guys are for, I am very, very suspect. Now, remember, however, and Rich, the last one here, remember, no matter what is going on in America, Joe Biden, night and day, is thinking about transgender youth. Nobody should be thinking about transgender youth other than transgender youth and their parents. All right? But Joe is obsessed for some reason.
To everyone celebrating Transgender Day of Visibility, I want you to know that your president sees you. Jill, Kamala, Doug, our entire administration sees you for who you are, made in the image of God and deserving of dignity, respect, and support. But we know it's hard when there are those out there who don't see you and don't respect you. For example, the onslaught of anti-transgender state laws attacking you and your families is simply wrong. This administration is standing up for you against all these.
Stop, Joe. Let's explain stuff to you, okay? When we say we don't want children undergoing puberty blockers or sexual reassignment surgery, that's to protect children. It doesn't harm them. I can't stand this stuff. Every time we come up with something that is meant to protect children and protect the individual, they say it's anti-LGBTQ. And you, James, as an LGBTQ, have you noticed that? I think, and the fake news falls for it every time. They'll put up a map, 27 states are now considering legislation that targets the LGBTQ community.
Yeah.
And it's so unfair. It's actually a lie. It's so lazy. It's like criminally lazy. I amount it to a lie.
Yeah. I mean, it's obviously, the kind of thing that, like you said, falls under that whole umbrella of kind of like identity politics, thou shalt not say anything against this certain group. But to your point, it's a big difference between suggesting somebody can or can't get surgery by the time they're, say, 20 years old, whatever, an adult, something they want to, if they choose to do it.
How about 18?
Right.
Is that too unreasonable?
It shouldn't be.
Of course not. Of course not.
And I think
unless you're a pervert like Joe Biden, and the man is a pervert. I'm sorry, but the way he talks, first of all, this is so wildly outside of the job description of any president. Transgender youth, your president sees you, your president looks at you. Dude, just focus on the budget and, the foreign affairs stuff.
Right.
And closing the border and not having chaos in the streets. You're talking and looking at kids. That's wrong. You're grabbing people you don't know and smelling their hair. He's a pervert. There's something really wrong with this guy. I could talk about stuff that was in Ashley Biden's diary, but I'm not going to do that out of respect to Ashley. All right. But that family is seriously dysfunctional. And for him to be talking about that stuff, and again, by the way, it wasn't just one off on, what was that, Transgender Visibility Day. He does it at the State of the Union address, the State of the Union. That is our union. What brings us together? Unity, right? Go.
And folks, for our LGBTQ plus Americans, let's finally get the Bipartisan Equality Act to my desk. The onslaught of state laws targeting transgender Americans and their families. It's simply wrong. And I said last year, especially to our younger transgender Americans, I'll always have your back as your president so you can be yourself and reach your God-given potential.
Yeah, again, what does that even mean? I have your back. What does it mean? So it's sick stuff. It really is. This is not constitutional. This is not moral, and it's pandering, and it's the worst kind of divisiveness. There's certain things we should not do as a country, and this is one of them. And that brings me to this guy, Dr. Haim. Have you heard about this guy?
Not sure.
He's in Houston, and he's another hero.
Oh, the whistleblower that they're going after now?
Yeah. I love this guy, and he told Texas Children's Hospital to stop at the sex reassignment for kids. They didn't. They kept at it. So he turned him into the cops, and he's the one who's getting arrested. Dr. Haim, when we come back.
Greg Kelly on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Long Island is more exciting than ever at Jake's 58 Casino Hotel. Get ready to zoom into some serious cash with Zoom Ball every Wednesday in June. Win up to $500,000. 1 point equals 1 entry. 2 lucky winners will be drawn at the top of every hour from 1 to 5 p.m. to play Zoom Ball. Discover the excitement at Jake's 58 Casino Hotel.
If gambling is a problem for you or someone, please call the 24-hour toll-free helpline at 877-8-HOPE or text NY.
Hey, it's Joe Piscopo. When you're looking for concrete materials for your next construction project, call Diamondback Ready Mix on Staten Island. This family-owned and operated business is the go-to supplier for concrete materials in New York, New Jersey, and the surrounding tri-state areas. My friends and experts from Diamondback Ready Mix are experts and fully licensed and insured in New York and in New Jersey to deliver ready-mix concrete to your job site. Give them a call today for more information at 718-650-5649, 718-650-5649.
Greg Kelly, entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Oh boy, there he is, the CEO in trouble, in hot water, the head of Boeing up there, with an army of aides and lawyers right behind him. But then they got a whole bunch of people who died in plane crashes. Hey, can we be real here for a moment? Planes don't crash the way they used to. When's the last time there was a plane crash in America? A significant airliner crashing in America? I have to think it's a couple of weeks after 9/11, that flight on its way to Dominican Republic. American Airlines, remember that? Dominican Republic. We all know what happened on 9/11, but that wasn't, a maintenance issue. What happened was the airplane went through the wake turbulence. A big plane leaves a wake behind it. You can't see it. It's kind of like a boat, but you can't see it. It's turbulence. It screws up the air. And if a plane goes through it, it can rock and it can, be buffeted, just like another boat could be tossed around by the wake. And, if you hit it at the wrong angle or if you're too close or whatever, it could down an airplane. And that's what happened there. I mean, I'm serious. Rich, do you know, when is that is 23 years ago. Now, when I was growing up, I'm trying to think in the 1990s, there was a plane crash like once a year. There was a big plane crash. Just trying to growing up, I remember there was that huge collision between two 747s on the Canary Islands. There was a plane that crashed on a really rainy day right by the movie theater in Valley Stream. There was that flight that crashed, ran out of gas, Avianca, the North Shore of Long Island. There's got to be more. There was a plane that crashed because too much ice was on the wings. It took off and it crashed right into Rikers Island. And guess who helped? The prisoners. The prisoners saved a bunch of people. That was all the way back in like 1960, though. I know there are plenty of nationally. There were always plane crashes. Always. It has been the engineering is so superior. And now they're yelling and screaming at this guy, I think because, quite frankly, certain airlines overseas, their training isn't up to snuff. I like going after the big shot as much as anybody, but I have a feeling that this is fake. I have a feeling that this is – can you pump up the volume for a moment? His name is Calhoun, Dave Calhoun. He's the boss of Boeing.
But we are taking action and we are making progress. We understand the gravity and we're committed to moving forward with transparency and accountability while elevating employee engagement every step of the way.
All right, enough. This guy's giving the mob what they want. He's giving the mob what they want, right? You go up there, you abjectly apologize. You didn't do what I just did. Talk about how damn safe the planes are. We have a remarkable record. Employee engagement. Let me tell you right now, before any of this happened, what do they have at Boeing? They had a whistleblower program. A whistleblower. That's where the whole damn thing came from, the whistleblower. You can shut down the assembly line if something's going wrong by blowing a whistle. I think this is more corporate communications run amok. Corporate, they always have these consultants who come in and they tell you must apologize. You must say you're taking steps to correct the matter. You must talk about your employees and how you're going to engage them more. I guess this is the way you got to be, but it's not necessarily the most effective way to be. Here's that snake Blumenthal from Connecticut. Pump up the volume.
7-minute rounds. I'll begin. Mr. Calhoun, more than 5 years after the MAX crashes, you're once again making promises and seeming commitments. They seem highly aspirational. They are very general to correct course.
Yeah, because it's more of a communications thing. Because Calhoun can't come out and say what the truth is. That crummy airlines in third world countries just aren't on par with American. It's the airline's fault. I don't know why he doesn't want to say that.
Greg Kelly on the Red Apple Podcast Network. Greg Kelly, entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Watching this CEO tap dance like this, I mean, sometimes you got to come in there a little bit like Trump style. You know what I mean? We build a great airplane. We build a awesome plane that gets you from point A to B and sometimes C and D and E. It works great. We're a huge company and we've done very well. You got to say that. You got to say it again and again and again. Whistleblowers, some of them are great, but some of them are just trying to save their own ass, right? Some of them, it's a way to get back at the boss. Some of them, it beats working. Some of them, they're frustrated because they're not in charge and they want to be in charge. And some of them come forward after the fact. What good is it after the fact? You blew the whistle. I remember that Enron and all that crazy stuff they were doing, that company, mark to market or market to mark, something like that. And some lady comes out, I saw this all along. Well, all right, but what did you do about it while you worked there? Always after the fact. A lot of times after the fact. And that's why, just because they're a whistleblower, Alexander Vindman, whistleblower. And he's a punk. All right, one more time with this guy Calhoun, because I'm going to send him a nasty email if he keeps up this apology stuff.
Committee, in response to our request for information, can you justify these productions?
I will. I would describe it precisely as you did, and I can't justify. And I will most definitely follow up.
My time has expired on this first round, and we're going to try to stick to the time limits because we have a number of colleagues here, and I want everybody to have a first round. We will have a second round. Hey, by the way,
the guy speaking lied about serving in Vietnam. Just so you know.
Mr. Chairman, to pick up where the chairman just left off, you said you'll check into that. Did you talk to the individual responsible for complying with our information requests? Have you had a meeting with that individual?
Johnson
that group
from
of
Wisconsin.
Senator Johnson, my team knows, and I have talked to them about the need for transparency at every level and every stage. So beyond that, as a backdrop, no,
hey,
I did not.
Transparency is one of those words that sound great, but nobody really wants it. All right? Nobody really wants transparency. You can't have transparency for everything. The companies that do it, it always blows up in their face. One more, back to Ron Johnson.
So you'll talk to them today about this?
Yes, well, they're right behind me, and so I'm sure, yes, it's registered.
You said you've listened to the whistleblowers. Have you directly spoken to any of the whistleblowers?
I have not directly spoken to any of the whistleblowers.
Do you think that'd be a good idea to do that?
Yeah, I think it would.
Oh, you see what I mean? Yeah. He's just kissing it. He's not whatever you want. You're the damn CEO. You haven't done that already? If you're going to give them everything they want, you might as well have a little. All right. I don't know. This is a PR stunt. Then again, this guy probably shouldn't be in the hot water that he's in, but he's in it anyway. I'm sick of it. Maria, hello.
Hey, Greg, thanks for taking my call. I just want to make a brief comment regarding those stupid remarks that Karine Jean-Pierre made, accusing right-wing media and, of course, MAGA Republicans of editing videos showing Joe feeble and not fit for the job, which, of course, we know he all is. Next Thursday night will be the first presidential debate. Joe will be on full display for all America to see. So let us judge whether Joe is feeble or whether he's fit for office.
All right, Maria. Thank you for that. All right. Do we want to revisit the issue from last week?
Nobody's going to. Excuse me, what?
Do we want to revisit the issue from last week?
Yeah, you're still on that with me. No.
Yes, I am. And the feeble excuse that that's a Joe Biden move. You talk about your husband recovering. All right. That's the thing that Joe Biden would do. You're sitting there on the phone. I want you to whip out your phone, make a video and put it on the Instagram or put it on the social media platform of your choosing. And Maria, I will retweet the hell out of you to my 1 million followers. Okay. All right. Yeah, I will do it with you. Now, I got to go through my wife because she now handles all of my tweets, which is a big pain in the neck. I was so on fire on Twitter. The whole world was like, the Washington Post was writing about my tweets. Nobody could figure them out. They were so interesting and nobody had ever seen anything like it. And then suddenly, basically, a committee of, well-wishers said, Greg, you really got to cool it with the Twitter. So, I kind of backed off. But Maria, that's, you know, you're not on probation, so you can do it. I urge you to do it. You can really make a difference. That goes for everybody out there in New Jersey and, lots of folks here in Long Island. All right. Thank you, Maria. Good luck. Christine is our transgender listener who is smart about all transgender issues. You transitioned when you were 50-something years old. She hates that it's being done for children, and she thinks this LGBTQIA stuff is totally out of hand. And we love Christine. Hello.
Hi, Greg. Well, you know what? When you play the cut that Biden has transgender people's back, well, to me, he's got a knife in my back, and he keeps turning it every time he opens his mouth. You know, it's time for government to leave the children alone and leave our wallets alone, too. And you said you want to get involved. Well, people, it's not too late to get involved with municipal and state elections. In fact, I just got back from the Secretary of State's office with my forms to collect the signatures to get on the ballot for a state representative race for this election cycle. You know, Greg, we have to do something to stop these radical leftist policies.
Yeah, what are you going to do now with the signatures?
Well, I petitioned, I joined in the race for my state, for my district for state representative, too late to get an endorsement. So in Connecticut, you have to contact the Secretary of State's office, and you got to fill out the forms, and you have to collect signatures, but you can't use any old piece of paper. It's got to be an official form, and you can make some copies, and you have to get...
Yeah, it sounds like it's too late, too. When the hell is the election? You can't...
No, I have to July 31st to get all the names in and get approved.
All right. Now, look, I don't want you out there spinning your wheels, though, all right? I mean, if you got a chance to win, if you got a shot, go for it. But, you know, you got to figure out what it is, you know, you can really do. And I'm all for dreaming big, but this sounds like, you know, I don't know. I don't know, Christine. You know, are you going to go to the state? Are you serious about it? Are you?
Yes, I can pull this off.
You can pull this off. So that you got to get the signatures. How many signatures? 5,000, 10,000, 15,000? How many?
No, Connecticut, you only need like 1% of your total votes in that previous election. And I'm in the small district, so we only had 7,300 votes. So I only need 73 signatures to get on the ballot.
All right. Well, listen. Good. Wow. That's it. All right. I want to see you in the governor's mansion, Christine. You got to start somewhere. I love it. Many, many thanks. Hey, people are upset, very upset with me. What did I say that was so bad? They don't like the comparison I made to Emmett Till. So you may have noticed that a lot of folks out there are, Donald Trump was convicted by a jury of his peers, right? A jury of his peers. Cut 27, please. A jury of his peers. Cut 27.
President Trump is now a convicted felon, convicted and decided by a jury of his peers.
Donald Trump was entitled to a trial by a jury of his peers. He received it.
This was a jury. This is a jury of his peers, a jury of fellow New Yorkers, as he is.
All right. A jury did it. A jury. Oh, a jury. How can a jury be wrong? Well, jurors are wrong all the time. They get it horrifically wrong. And sometimes jurors are bribed, corrupt. Okay. It happens. And, it happens throughout history. And the thing that I mentioned, because there were 3 murderers who were acquitted by a jury in Mississippi, way back in the 1950s. Was it Mississippi or Alabama? Emmett Till was beaten to a pulp, right? That 14-year-old boy who, what did he do? He said hello to the wrong white woman, and a mob came up and beat him like hell and hung him from a tree. And the jury said, no problem here. We don't see no problem here. Yeah, we vote not guilty. Not guilty. And they were all like laughing and giggling to themselves. Well, a jury of his peers found him not guilty. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Right? How's that for a throwback to the South? Hey, I lived there. And actually, the South has come a long way. I lived in Mississippi. I lived in North Carolina. I lived in the panhandle of Florida. Great people. Very modern. Even the accents. They don't really even have accents down there. Like they used to. So I think it's a very fair comparison. And they hated it and, they went nuts and they're demanding this, that, and the other thing. Well, I'm not bothered. I'm not bothered. The other reason why we haven't heard from the jurors, right? They want everybody to think that the jurors, if they go public, they've got something to be afraid of, like MAGA, right? Ooh, MAGA's going to do something to them. Cut 25.
My first thought when this came down was I was fearful for the judge's safety and the jury's safety.
The invasion of privacy, the threats of personal safety that logically follow from that. And that is because of Donald Trump's profile and the invitations to violence that he invites into legal proceedings.
The threats on jurors, people trying to identify who these jurors are, trying to threaten them with violence.
Jurors certainly must continue to be protected.
Yeah. All right. So that means the not so subliminal message is MAGA is going to come for these jurors. Now, that's not going to happen. Remember, Donald Trump himself said, even Mother Teresa, after listening to Judge Merchan, she would be convicted. They would convict Mother Teresa. So in some regard, the jury, they were manipulated by the judge, but I still have I want to hear from them. Is that such a problem? I don't think so at all. All right. So they're upset about the Emmett Till thing, and good on me. Good on me. I have no problem with that. Oh boy, now this guy is really humiliating himself. How could he not meet with the whistleblowers, right? They're going to ask you about the whistleblowers. You're the CEO. Hey, the best thing you can be as a CEO is a so-called micromanager, right? Micromanager. It has a pejorative tone, right? But you got to roll up your sleeves, This is what I would say to David Calhoun. Either you run Boeing or Boeing runs you, right? So this man's not in charge, and I think he's resigning anyway because, well, he's weak. He's weak. A once great company led by a wimp. I'll be right back.
Greg Kelly on the Red Apple Podcast Network. Greg Kelly, entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
I mean, this is an illegitimate regime of neo-Marxists. From the Justice Department to the FBI, the Wall Street crowd, you can see this everywhere in our society, the attacks on the family, and they play for keeps. And I'm so glad that in the Alex Joneses and the Tucker Carlsons, and particularly since you've had the opportunity to leave Fox, ourselves and so many others now understand that this is a war to the knife.
Steve Bannon, everybody. He really is amazing. I want to meet this guy someday. I love Steve. He may be going to jail very, very soon. Contempt of Congress. What a crock. One of the reasons why they want to silence him, the reason they want to silence him is he is so damned effective, right? And he gets it, and he's calling it out, and he is using his intellect, his money, everything he can bring to the table to save this country. And, it would be a lot better, I guess, for the Democrats to have him in jail. Horrible for the country. I mean, at what cost? Tyranny never wins, does it? Does it really? I guess, you want to say no. Look, I hope we have relief in November, but this could be much, much, much longer. There are times in history, 100 years, 400 years, I don't know. It could go either way. It really could. I am optimistic, but now the other thing here is, what got him in hot water? This shouldn't get him in hot water. It's American. This is an American slogan. Give me liberty or give me death, right? Who was that? Ben Franklin or Patrick Henry or one of those guys? Cut 21, please.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's very simple. Victory or death.
I love it. Yeah, it was Patrick Henry who said, give me liberty or give me death. Now saying that, oh my gosh, what an insurrectionist. We need to, This country, was founded with a revolutionary spirit. Spirit of 1776. Some of the people on January 6th were alluding to that, alluding to our revolutionary roots. And then they say, oh, you can't do that. Really? We could during the bicentennial. We celebrated it. We embraced it. Air Force One. You know what it was called? You know what his little nickname was for 5 years? The Spirit of 76. And 76 was a year of revolution. And they try to say, well, you just talking about that could lead to another January 6th. what really happened on January 6th, okay? The cops let people in and they shot Ashley Babbitt. All right, we got to get the hell out of here in a moment. Andrew, hello.
Got me inspired, optimistic, and when Trump is introduced in the debate, he should be cordial, say thank you for having me. Good luck to President Biden. You'll do well. Let's go, Brandon. And then he should go to Jake Tapper. Jake, I'll do your job for you. I'll ask the question to President Biden. Yes, his favorite ice cream is Rocky Road, followed closely by chocolate. No reaction.
I'm spellbound. Wow. If only he does that, Andrew. He'll win. No, it's all right. It's cute. I like the line about the answering the question for him of the Rocky Road ice cream, right? You got to wonder about a guy whose most fascinating quality is his love of ice cream, huh? Jacqueline, hello.
Hi, Greg. I just wanted to add something to what one of your earlier callers mentioned about it being primary voting day on the 25th. We are now right in the middle of early voting for primary, and it runs until this Sunday, the 23rd. So there's a good way for people to vote AOC out and the others who also support the inflow of illegal invaders like the Casino Park rapist and others. And as far as President Trump is concerned, they call him a convicted felon. There is a juror who posted on social media saying that President Trump would be found guilty before the jury even reached their decision.
It wasn't necessarily, you're talking about the cousin, right?
Yeah.
I know. I highlighted it. I stay on it. And that has not been debunked. So keep your eye on it. Okay. All right. So early voting in the primary. Thank you, Jacqueline. Frank.
Hey, Greg. Just want to help you out before you were talking about Ashley Biden's diary and didn't want to be held liable, I'm sure.
No, it's not a liability thing. It's a class thing. Okay. I don't want to say anything about that diary. I got a policy about the diary. All right. You return the diary when somebody reads it. I know what you're getting at. I saw that part in there. It's not enough to hang Joe. All right. It's not. Musings about your childhood and thoughts of sexuality, whatever. You can't put that on Joe. It's not on Joe. All right. So look, I do have compassion even for my enemies. And, Ashley Biden, again, the answers you're looking for are in the Bible. All right. They're all in the Bible, all that peace and everything you want. All right, Frank. So we're going to leave it at that. Okay.
Yes, sir. Sounds good.
All right. I appreciate it. Barbara.
Hi, Greg. I'm hearing the latest delusions being described again. You described them very well. The delusion, the belief in spite of all evidence to the contrary, the belief that Joe Biden is fine and there's nothing mentally challenged about him at all. That's a delusion that we are expected to believe. All of these delusions, that the delusion that our children should be exposed to these drag queens, because otherwise how will a 2-year-old learn that the world is a diverse place? The delusion that there are many sexes, not just two. All of these delusions we are forced to believe. Meanwhile, the reality that we see with our own 2 eyes is denied, and we are damned for even mentioning it. And that's exactly what Bezmenov, the former KGB agent turned informer for our country, that's exactly what Bezmenov said. He said people will become so brainwashed that they won't be able to recognize the truth. So when the media or the president or Jean-Pierre, whatever her name is, says that this is the truth, we're supposed to believe that. And many millions of people do believe it because they can't recognize the truth. They are so brainwashed.
It is amazing what is happening. It's wild. I never, ever, ever, never in a million years. Oh, by the way, it looks like we might be seeing video shortly of one of Joe Biden's dogs biting a Secret Service agent. It looks like it happened 24 times. They caught the Secret Service deleting some of the footage. Can you believe that one, Barbara? They deleted some of the footage of Joe Biden's dog biting Secret Service agents 24 times. The other thing, we have new information. Oh, my goodness. Back in 2016, Hunter Biden was being investigated by the Securities and Exchange Commission. His lawyer writes a big letter to the SEC saying, we really should leave Hunter out of it because he's the son of the vice president. That's it, right? Not that he's innocent, that he's the son of the vice president. Oh, and Joe might be embarrassed Wow, talk about pulling string.
This is Greg Kelly for Priority Gold. What does it mean to be America's precious metals dealer? It means that you're in touch with the hearts and minds of those who love this country, value our freedom, and want to protect the future. Priority Gold is that precious metals dealer. They've helped thousands of Americans back their retirement with solid gold and silver. Call Priority Gold at 888-506-6439. Receive free shipping, free storage, a free investment guide, and one of the best purchase experiences in the industry. Call now or go to PriorityGold.com.